We're live on Facebook as well, right on time at 6:50. Yep, yes, okay, it's 6:50 and 37 seconds. So for people on YouTube, you were at 6:50 and 5 seconds, only 5 seconds late. We're not going to be picky. We're not going to start on the dot. We just want to start on time. So minute-wise, we're on time there. And then it just took another 30 seconds to start Facebook. So that was 6:50 and 36 seconds, which was still 6:50. So we started on time today. Not counting the seconds. We're just counting the minutes. No 6:51. We all started at 6:50. Just a few seconds, which is no big deal. All right, welcome to our live stream. It's great when you just start right on time. So I made some changes. If any of you didn't know this already. So first of all, I was at a family gathering, and I left early just to start this on time, and I wasn't rushed. I gave myself a little more time than I needed a little bit, but that was good because usually a lot of times I do these in church clothes, and I was ready to start my live stream at 6:45, and luckily for me, I had time to get dressed this time. And wearing my Once Upon a Time shirt for everyone who's watching, who never gets to see this shirt because they either jump on my live stream and while we're watching the episodes or they just don't stick around. So make sure you get my Storybrooke shirt. I do have some Once Upon a Time merchandise that I finally got in the mail. I don't have time to get it right now because it's 6:50, but it just occurred to me 2 minutes after we just started. So I don't know. I'll have to show you it sometime, but not tonight. But yeah, about something I've made a few changes. So yes, I was able to start live streams on time. I got dressed. I made a change in the schedule over this past week. So if you looked at the posts, I reposted the calendar of how we're gonna go forward. Originally so for those who weren't here at the very beginning, before I started this marathon, I created a schedule of and planned out at least half of the year. I did plan out the rest of it, but I didn't want to share it yet because I didn't. I was only sure on the first half of the series. Sorry, I got something in my eye, but I was only sure on the first half of the series, and oh my goodness, there's something in my eye. Okay. I was in the I only planned out the first half of the series at the time, and then after we watched our first few episodes of season 1, I did plan the second half privately. I just didn't tell you guys about it because I wasn't sure with Christmas and stuff how that was gonna work out. So I didn't want to publish the schedule for the second half of the year yet. I only publicly shared up till October, and then I privately planned the whole thing, and that's how I knew our marathon will probably end on in May 2026, May 31st. That's what I planned out, and that was only planning to skip both Mother's Days and then 1 week in the holiday season. And so the thing is, though, I didn't think about summer vacations as part of the plan, and we have a summer vacation coming up. And now I know I live streamed in Arkansas and Mississippi, but that was my personal live stream. This one's a more family with vacation with my aunts, uncles, cousins, and my grandfather, who's a patriarch, and he's been a bishop before. He's very big in the church. He likes, usually we do our family home evening Sunday night from past Larson experience vacations. And he didn't say anything. I bet we could have done the live stream on our vacation, but I didn't want to risk the fact that he might plan something and I have to fight about, no, I have this live stream I have to do. I don't want, Anyway, it's time to spend time with family. So I figured, we'll finish this season on July 20th, and I'm going to be gone the 27th. So this actually works out perfectly because remember when we skipped Mother's Day, we were just halfway through season 1, so it was a nice break. We're not obviously gonna be halfway through season 2 tonight. We're gonna be halfway through season 2, and I'm still planning to go live next week. So no, it doesn't work out like that for season 2, but we was just so happened to finish all of season 2 just before we leave on vacation, and it makes sense to take a break before we start season 3. And so I decided to not do a live stream at the end of July because of that vacation. And then also on my mom's side of the family, that's my dad's side. My mom's side of the family has a camp out the second week in August. I don't want to skip that week because it's like 2 weeks after our Larson vacation. What happens is that we skip, you know, and we skip a week before we start season 3, and then if we watch the first couple episodes of season 3, it doesn't make sense to take a break after that. I don't like skipping multiple weeks in a row. And even if I was able to uh, host, because my mom's side does camping, my dad's side likes to do hotels on vacation. Even if I was able to do it from my Midway hotel in the end of July, we would get through 2 weeks of season 3 and pause like after episode 5 or 6. And the best times to take a break is halfway through the season or the end of the season. It doesn't make sense to take a break like after episode 5, episode 6, after episode 15, after episode 18. It's weird to do it like that. And so I don't know how we're going to go live. I'm hoping to still do my marathon in the middle of August. But yeah, it's hard to work around those family vacations. And I definitely think it makes sense because my mom's side of the family is not big in the church. So it is plausible, but we're camping, so there's no Wi-Fi. So if I decide I'm not going camping, then we should still do the live stream. Otherwise, there might not be Wi-Fi, which is the other problem. But yes, there is Wi-Fi at the hotels usually. But my grandfather might have a family home evening planned, so we're not going to do that Sunday. And, I'm definitely still putting hopes on the camping one, though. On the camping trip to still do a live stream, since it's weird to be in the middle of season 3, like not just season 3, but not even be halfway and stop it. It's weird. So anyway, but yes, for our Larson vacation, it will be right between the time we finish season 2 and before we start season 3. So I think it makes sense to skip the last Sunday in July, and that's why we're not. And that's why I create a schedule change. We are still going to be able to finish on May 31st, because instead of skipping a week during the holidays, assuming that I could do live streams on Thanksgiving. Most of the time we celebrate Thanksgiving on Thursday, not a Sunday. So most likely my Sunday evenings might still be free if all the families do it before Sunday, which happens usually most years. Some years we've had to do it on a Sunday because they couldn't do it on actually Thanksgiving. But if that's not one of those years, then we should be good. As far as Christmas goes, I don't think Christmas falls on a Sunday either. And so I don't think we'll have anything the Sunday before Christmas or the Sunday in between Christmas and New Year. So throughout the holiday season, we should be still doing our Once Upon a Time marathon. So even though I plan to skip a week somewhere in between there, I decided to skip the end of July instead, and plan to do a live stream every single week in the holidays. So everything still works out, even though I just changed when to take a break again. So yeah, after the end of July, that means we're not going to skip another week till Mother's Day again. So it's planned every single week after that point. But yes, if anything comes up in the future and I have to make another schedule change, there is a chance we will not finish in May of next year. So just heads up, the marathon could take longer if I can't go live every single week. So, which is fine. So yes, this time I plugged in my headphones so I don't forget. I haven't been getting copyrighted. Luckily on YouTube they block out the noise, so that's good. Facebook doesn't do that though, so I have very risk of getting copyrighted on Facebook. Luckily that hasn't been the case with the sound. But I'm still going to put in headphones whenever I do remember. If I ever forget, oh well. Luckily I haven't been sued, so I think I should try remembering to do headphones more often though. With that said, we are going to get started. It is 6:59, and even better, when it was 6:45 and I was getting into my Once Upon a Time shirt and getting out of my church clothes, it was still not quite 6:50 yet, so I pulled up Disney Plus and I already have the episode pushed play and paused. So if you don't have it already, make sure your Disney Plus or whatever is opened, and if you're on the Disney Plus version and you push Season 2, Episode 10, called The Cricket Game, there should be 43 minutes and 55 seconds left on the timestamp. If you have a different version on Hulu or DVD, then it's different, but make sure not a single second has played yet. And now with it being 7 o'clock, we're going to get started. Since we started right at 6:50 on both live streams, I want to start right on time. So let's know, other than now it's been a few seconds after 7. Other than just a few seconds, let's not delay this 1 minute. So let's get started right now. We're going to start our first episode. This is the first episode of a new season 2 arc. We're still in season 2, but remember how we wrapped up the whole Emma and Snow getting back from the Enchant Forest? That arc's over. We're starting a whole new arc, but we're still in season 2. So prepare yourselves, because there's going to be a lot of drama on these next couple episodes. We have Evil Queen being framed for murder. I'm not going to spoil much. We have the real world coming to Storybrooke, and we have a black and white episode. So prepare yourselves to go old school, real world, and frame job. We got a lot of things going for us. So, no, we're going to start 1 minute late, actually. So, because I wanted to say that. So 7:01, let's just start now. Hopefully, as I was talking the last 10 minutes, you have the episode ready, because I'm not waiting any longer for you. You'll have to just pause the live stream or rewind it or watch it later if you're not ready. So we're going to start. So episode 10, season 2, The Cricket Game. That's the title. 3, 2, 1, now. And there's no recap. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Let's do this thing, guys. Cora and Hook just made it to Storybrooke. Well, Cora's still right. This is a land without magic, but Rumpel brought magic to Storybrooke, so if you want to find magic in the real world, I'm afraid it's only in Storybrooke. Yeah, don't be a dum-dum. Cora's not gonna play games with you. Cora came to Storybrooke. That's gonna create a lot of havoc. And you get Pongo's dog as the title sequence. Not Pongo's dog. Pongo is the dog from 101 Dalmatians. I mean, Archie's dog. Pongo. Sorry, I farted. Too long to be in love. Henry's here! They don't know how to use a cell phone, Emma. They're not real world material. So, yeah. Just knock on the door before you walk in. Yeah. Parent advice. If you don't want your kids to come home while you're having, you know what I mean? Uh, the S word. I'm not going to say it. But, you should do it on vacation without your children. Then you don't risk anyone interrupting you while you're making out. Hmm. She doesn't care how many men she loses. That's rude, Regina. Mm-hmm. Your reign of evil is over, Regina. It's nice to have a welcome back party after you've been in the Enchant Forest for 9 episodes, and you didn't get much time after the curse broke either because of this. So this is like a celebration for 28 years of being cursed and for coming back home from the Enchant Forest. Meatloaf back home. What a problem that would be. Here's to not having to look for each other after sleeping curses and dark curses and separated across 2 realms. It's nice to not have to look for each other for a while. You were too busy making out. Give her a chance to be good. Come on, Grumpy. They're not poison. She's trying to be good now. Grumpy is always in a bad mood, though. And we can call him Grumpy because they're not cursed anymore. No more Leroy, no more Mary Margaret, no more Dave. Well, David is also his real name. Prince James was his brother's name that he stole. It's funny how the curse gave him just his real name, David. Because he played as James until the curse, and then his real name was David, and that was his curse name, too. Kind of ironic. Regina feels left out. Oh, Regina. Emma. Regina, at least they ended their conversation. Yeah, that could have gone worse, but luckily they ended on a good note. Regina said, "Thank you for inviting me. I gotta go." So she's trying. She snapped on accident, but you can see her trying to be good. It's hard after being evil for 28, more than 28 years. She was evil before the curse. Let's see, if Snow was 10, she was probably in her 20s when Emma was born. So that adds about 15 more years to the 28. She's been evil for 43 years. It's hard to change to good when you've been evil for 43 years. Curse. Hi, Red Riding Hood. What are you doing here? She would probably crush your heart for betraying her trust. So, you're lucky she changed. Jiminy Cricket! Funny how that's a great parallel there. In the flashback... That's too violent. Anyway, the flashback, Jiminy Cricket says, I fear the queen will never change. And then in the present, she's like, I have changed. It's just very hard. She has changed. His judgment was wrong in the past. Doesn't matter how evil someone is, killing is wrong, despite how evil they are. Right? They're not gonna kill her because Regina's in the present. Obviously they decide not to. But what's the difference between Well, we know what she lives to do. She casts a curse and makes you forget who you are for 28 years. That's what she does if you keep her alive. but yeah, Charming's like assassination and execution. Are they really two different things? Aren't you still killing someone? If assassination is wrong, execution would probably be just as bad, right? She shouldn't be executed. She should go to prison for her sins, but not be killed. Pongo knows something's wrong here. Pongo knows something's wrong. It wasn't Regina. It was Cora who killed Archie. But she definitely framed it as if it was Regina. Ogres are awesome. Henry, just wait until you see one in person. They almost killed Emma. I'm not me. That's because you guys were cursed. Well, not Emma and Henry, but it was during the curse when Henry walked by himself. Things are different now, so let Emma walk you. Cause the wolf thing, she can sense an animal being in danger. Sense an animal being in danger. No, not Jiminy Cricket. Who would have done this? It's easy to blame Regina when she's been evil for 43 years, so learn this as a lesson. Never choose the wrong for 43 years, because then most likely if you get framed, it's going to be hard to prove yourself innocent when you have 43 years of sins to make up. So, yeah. Stay good, and you'll be as innocent as they come whenever you get framed. And maybe they'll prove you innocent a lot easier if you're not evil for 43 years. A father doesn't want to see their child get killed. Nothing's worth the loss of a child. Snow White said the same thing in flashback. You stopped me from assassinating her. How is executing her any different? Now you stopped her from her execution, and you've seen what she's lived to do. How is this time any different? This time there's a difference. In the flashback, there was not a difference, and they probably should have killed her, but if they didn't, they wouldn't be in the real world, and we wouldn't have Once Upon a Time. So, but nevertheless, it is different this time. Because she didn't kill Archie. We saw that. Cora, disguised as Regina. See, the difference between season 1 is that Mary Margaret, Snow White, was innocent. And that's why everyone knew at the start that she was not guilty. It's easy, we as an audience know it's Cora. But everyone in the story, it's easy to blame Regina because she's been the opposite of innocent. She's been guilty. Look at those poor villagers. That is evil. You probably would want her to die, but even the evilest of all can be redeemed. Except maybe Satan can't, but yeah. There must be opposition in all things. There's always a villain in the show, though. So if the evil queen becomes good, who's the villain? Rumble? Someone else who's not a main character? Captain Hook's being a villain right now. Yeah, see? Snow White doesn't feel like we should kill Regina. To be fair, one reason to keep her alive is that so she can have Henry and raise him. It's dangerous to put a child with this woman, but she did raise Henry as a good parent for 10 years. Strict, but good. Yeah. It's hard for people to see it when you've been evil for 43 years. I'm saying that a lot, sorry. That's how the real world works. You let her go. She's a suspect, of course. But if they can't find her suspicious in any manner, there's no reason to lock her up yet unless they have evidence against her, which Cora did leave evidence. There's no going back from killing. Regina's repentable. She's repentable. No one wants to be in a situation where they're being framed for murder, though. Because that's just scary to look at. She is redeemable, Rumple. Unlike you. Yeah, you would probably think I should give more slack on Rumple, but knowing the show all the way till the end, he might be turning good now, but in later seasons, his redemption arc gets thrown in the toilet. I'm not trying to spoil anything, but I know Rumple. Evil Queen is way better at staying good than Rumple is. Let's just say that. I give Rumple a hard time because I know that. And I don't want to spoil it to you guys, so if you ever think I'm not being nice to Rumple, you can hold your negative comments and know that I see the end from the beginning, and I'm like, come on, Rumple. You've turned good so many times, and then you threw it down the toilet. But I won't say that. I will just say, Come on, Rumple. She's more redeemable than you, meaning I just know that Rumple. Yeah. Sorry for that little spoiler there on Rumple's character. My episode is frozen. That's not good. There we go, it's working. Yes, Snow White's been framed before in season 1. Oh yeah, King George. King George. King George is a kind of a killer. Of course they'll think it's Rumple, but he's not. He's not. He's not. He's not evil yet. Pongo was there, technically, and you can, with magic, you can take Pongo's memories. That can't be done in the real world. In the real world, I wonder what police would do in this situation. They can't tell. They can't tell the dog. Emma's the savior. She can use magic. Snow and Charming are not a fan of Emma's magic, so. In the real world, I don't think police would do that to a dog because they don't have magic. I wonder how they would do this. They would probably just blame Regina right away. They'd probably still put Regina and frame her for murder, but not this way because they don't have magic or Pongo as a witness in the real world. But in Once Upon a Time, you got magic to prove who's guilty and stuff. Well, they didn't finish what. Well, Pongo wasn't there when Cora snuck out. But if that was a security camera, I would say keep watching. It's actually Cora. They didn't watch long enough, so that's why they think it's Regina. Yeah. Poor Regina. She's done so much to start her redemption path, but then trials in life kick her back to evil. I get emotional during this scene, so I'm gonna be quiet. Oh, this is cute. Regina should have took this offer. It's kind of sad watching this scene. This is like the. This is like imagine Snow White as Christ in a way. This is what it makes me think. Christ comes to you and he says, "I'm letting the woman who saved my life go," and then he says, "Time to leave the evil behind in the cell and choose the right." Like that's what I think of when I watch this scene. And Regina is gonna backfire, but in the flashback, I get emotional watching this. Regina, Snow White's giving you a chance at redemption and you're not taking it. Some people are like that. They don't want to repent, but still. Hmm. She can't even get revenge on Snow White if she wanted to. Yeah, now that's different. That's different. Christ probably wouldn't do that part. If you ever hurt anyone in my kingdom again, I will kill you. But just before Regina backfired, that made me think. That made me think about, you know, think that was an emotional saying interpreted in gospel form for me. Regina, now you're backfiring in the present. Guys. Boy, these people are not very forgiving, but if you thought someone killed someone you loved, you'd probably be mad too. But us as an audience know that Regina didn't do it, and so this is why I have empathy towards her. I feel like she was unfairly treated there. Because Emma Snow gave her up when she was a baby. It's not different. Yeah, we're family. But this is not true though. We all know Regina's innocent, and though she it was wrong for her to hurt Emma and snap into evilness. She had every right to do that to offend herself, but it, she wanted to, knowing that she didn't do it. She wanted to tell Henry the truth, and apparently they won't let her see Henry. So fortunately, she's framed. Luckily, they don't lock her up like they did Mary Margaret or Snow White in season 1, though. They don't lock her up. I mean, they should, but she gets away, so it's kind of sad. There's Regina watching. Man, she lost her son due to this frame job. When she finds out it was Cora, this is why in last week's episodes I told you that I understand Regina's point of view, because she was right. If Cora comes to Storybrooke, she could lose Henry. She could lose her chance at redemption. She knew this would happen, and so that's why she was willing to risk killing Emma and Snow because of this. But since Cora found a different way to Storybrooke, I mean, you know, you ended up getting framed anyway, and when you find out it's your mother, you're going to be awfully mad at her again, and she's going to force you into evil again, and yeah. Just be glad you don't grow up with evil mothers in the real world. Because they can make you stay evil if you let them. See, Rumple did this on purpose. Well, he needs the curse to find his son. But this is how he got Regina to cast the curse. He put a protection spell on the Charming so she can't hurt him in this world, and then that would give her a reason to cast his curse, because in future flashbacks you're going to see Regina saying, "I have another way to get revenge on Snow White without your curse." And little does Regina know that Rumple needs to find his son, but, you know, Regina can use that as a weakness against him if he told her, so he keeps that a secret, and he finds another way to get Regina to cast his curse by putting protection spell on the Charmings, and she has to cast the curse to get revenge on him. Of course, the 28 years have changed her a little bit, though, and she doesn't want to kill them now. A gift. Cora has a gift. Who? Cora has a gift. Cora has a gift. What does she have on the ship? The invisible ship. Oh boy. He has to betray Doctor Confidentiality. Otherwise, his life hangs in the real balance. Pinocchio, not Pinocchio. What am I saying? Jiminy Cricket is alive. As soon as he gets free from that situation, he could tell everyone that it wasn't Regina, and then Regina won't be framed. So, anyway, yes, feel free to push the next episode, but don't start it yet. But have the play button ready for when I tell you to push play. If you're on Disney Plus version, the next episode has 43 minutes and 53 seconds in total. So, that's Disney Plus, of course. If you have DVD or Hulu, just make sure not a single second has played. So, about that episode, yes, Regina was being evil, and in world aspects, she deserved to die. But if you're like Christ-like kind of way, you believe in everyone being redeemed, and she didn't deserve to die. And yes, she didn't redeem herself in the flashback, but in the present, she was being really sincere. She didn't kill Archie. She was actually being good this time around. Last time it was her fault, and she deserved his death sentence, like final judgment. But in present day, she was being good, and thanks to her mother Cora making it to Storybrooke, which is what she feared in the first 9 episodes of the season. She didn't want Cora to come to Storybrooke, which is why she threatened to kill Snow and Emma, because she didn't want to risk Cora coming through the portal. Even though Emma and Snow defeated her, she still found another way to Storybrooke. So it sounds like her efforts to prevent Cora from coming to Storybrooke were still backfired, regardless whether she killed Emma and Snow or not. Obviously she made the right choice to save Emma and Snow, but Cora still found a way to Storybrooke. And yes, and this is what she feared exactly what would happen. Cora would find a way to turn the whole town against her, and and now she's being framed for murder. We're getting the same plot as we did in season 1, but this is different because Snow White was never evil. She was good. No one's perfect, of course. She had some flaws, but she was good. And Emma, not just believed in her, but living with her as a roommate, not knowing that that's her mom, of course, she knew that Mary Margaret was innocent. And so it was pretty easy to see through the whole second half of season 1 that Snow was innocent. Whereas Regina, if we didn't see that scene where Regina took out her where Cora, if we didn't have that scene where Cora was disguised as Regina, even us as an audience would have thought Regina did it, because it was so believable. This is why we don't allow magic here, because people would do things like that, disguised as innocent people, and they would get framed. That's the worst thing that should happen to a good person. The whole saying, bad things happen to good people. That's a bad thing you definitely don't want to happen to yourself. Because I watched another show where a father got framed and was in jail for 20 years or so before his son could prove him innocent. So anyway, it's sad when you have to go to jail for something you didn't do. It's one thing to sin, but to pay the price of someone else's sins, that's kind of a little unfair. So Regina's paying the price of her mother's sins, and this is why she never wanted Cora to come to Storybrooke, and why She tried to keep her in Wonderland because she didn't want her mother to have a hold on her. So, anyway, we'll get into the next episode now. This episode is a Rumple focused episode. We focused on Snow White, Charming, and Regina. Now we're going to focus on Rumple, Hook, and, well, Emma, the other half of the main cast, pretty much. So, yes, this is a Rumple and Hook focused episode. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1, now. No flashback. No, of course there's a flashback. No recap in this episode either. So the last two episodes, this episode and last episode we're watching have no recaps. We're all getting no recaps tonight almost. We'll see if the next one after this has a recap though. Mr. Smee, we haven't seen you in a while. Hook's in town now, if you want to know. Can't say that because it's a show. Rumple, if you wanted to test a potion, you didn't need to kidnap Smee. So I guess I was wrong. He is kind of evil in this season, but not evil enough to distract the attention of the other heroes. They're too busy trying to be upset with Regina's evilness, which again is a frame job. But speaking of Archie's death, funeral. Mm-hmm. Archie lived longer than Geppetto almost, because he was a kid when Archie was still an adult, and he's still alive. So he had a fake funeral. He's gonna have two funerals when he really dies. Belle. Belle. He's finally gonna find his son. No more curses are preventing him from the real world. Now, in case you're confused, this flashback takes place after Belle. This flashback takes place after Belle left Rumple, but before the Evil Queen locked her in a cell. The Evil Queen didn't kidnap her right when she left Rumple. You know, remember the Beauty and the Beast flashback where she left Rumple because he was a coward? He couldn't change. Anyway, this is before the Evil Queen kidnapped her and lied about her death. You know, this is in between that. Now remember Dreamy fell in love with Nova. We're not going to see them at all in the show. They were pretty much forgot about, but we get a reference of them. Fairies and dwarfs do not mix. So, Belle gives Grumpy advice the night before, and now Grumpy returns the favor. So, yes, this takes place during the Nova flashback as well. And I think I did mention when we watched that episode that this took place in between. So, same time frame. After she left Rumple, but before Evil Queen kidnapped her. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was close, Belle. Phew. Hmm. Couldn't hear each other very well. Maybe there's no reception in the elevator. Hook and his revenge. He has a redemption arc too. His is pretty much very quick, like Regina's. Rumple's the only one who doesn't learn from his mistakes. How rude. Those are not good people. She lied. She wanted to get rid of him. She wanted to get rid of him. Please be asleep. My battery's low. Luckily, I had my charge cord ready because I knew that would happen. At my computer, it was at 100%, but it can't survive from 100 to 0 in 3 episodes. So, of course, when you have it at 100%, you get through a whole entire episode and a third of one, or a fourth of one, because we got 30 minutes left and it's only been 10. No comments. Uh-oh. Yeah, they might lock you in asylum. They would want to kill you. Yeah. That's a little hint. We have that problem in this story arc. People coming to Storybrooke and studying it to death, like E.T. and Splash. I haven't seen Splash, but I've seen E.T. They want to study a creature to death. Come on, Rumple, be honest. Hook distracted you. The only thing that can get him to his son. Oh dear. She doesn't know how to do a gun. She doesn't know how to use a gun. Because she's been locked up. Mulan is a warrior. Mulan and Belle, another Disney princess crossover. I mean, I know they crossed paths earlier in the flashback, but now they're on good terms. So, sorry if I wasn't talking much. I mean, that's a good thing, so you can enjoy the show and I can shut up. But remember how we've had a couple incidences where I'm going live on Facebook and YouTube, then there's an internet connection, and either my live streams are fine, but we've had a couple times in the past. It's only happened like once, maybe twice at most, and now it's happened again. Doesn't happen often, luckily, but it just so happens that the internet connection that was lost wasn't strong enough to keep YouTube going, and so they ended my live stream. And I was just putting in the comments for those watching, saying that that I'm still live on Facebook, and when it's over at 9:30, I'm gonna download the Facebook version and download it to YouTube, and it should be under the video section, not the live streaming section. So sorry about all that, but now I'm done. So everyone watching on YouTube will get to hear the rest of this later when we're done. Luckily, I've never had a situation where Facebook shut down. So if that ever happens, the opposite will occur. I will download the YouTube version and put it on Facebook. But honestly, I could just send you the link to the YouTube version, because not everyone has Facebook, but everyone should be able to access YouTube. So if that ever happens, then I'll just send the link. But I hope there's never a time I lose Facebook and YouTube, because that would suck. Archie's dead, Henry says. By the way, earlier. Henry gets to take care of Pungo's dog! And he put poop all over the floor. Mm-hmm. But Emma's an adult. She can live on her own. True. In Storybrooke, we have a chance at a fresh start. Everything we did in the past is in the past. Repentable, forgivable, forget it. You know, let's start making better choices in the real world. Stay in Storybrooke. The show is mainly takes place, besides flashbacks, you know, that take place in the Enchanted Forest and anywhere else like Wonderland. Present day is always taking place in Storybrooke. Not always, but even when Snow and Emma are in the Enchanted Forest, there's the other characters in Storybrooke. So Storybrooke is like the center of the show, and you can't have the show without Storybrooke. So there's no way they're going to leave the real world anytime soon if we're only on season 2 and there's 7 seasons. Mm-hmm. Messy. Messy. Rumple killed her. That makes Belle a little worried. Because if you fall in love with Rumple and you marry him and you have children with him, the moment you decide to divorce, he's gonna kill you, Belle. Just kidding. Yeah. But Belle, now that you know that Rumple killed his wife, you never know if he's gonna do the same to you. It's kind of a toxic relationship. If you marry a husband who killed his previous wife, that's a death trap. Because you know once you divorce him, he's gonna kill you. It's like you're forced to be with him. But Rumple never kills Belle in the show, by the way. But still, being in Belle's shoes at this specific point in the show, I'd be a little more scared of being with him. Knowing what he did to his first wife that we saw in season 2, episode 4. Ouch. Come on, Rumple. Killing Hook is not the answer. It's a lion that's on fire! Obviously, we've seen it before, but I was distracted texting the people on YouTube of why my live stream ended. On YouTube. He's writing something. It's Prince Philip! He was a fire lion! This whole time! This is past, remember? This is flashback, so that doesn't mean he's a fire lion and Aurora should know. No, 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 no. That's different. Maleficent. We saw her in season 1. Emma killed her, remember? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you faced Rumpelstiltskin. Come on, Belle. You've saved Philip, save Rumple. Come on, Rumple. Resist temptation. Okay, good. But Cora's. True. But actually, Cora's here. You're fighting here, so you should go back there if you don't want to fight. Because Cora's here now. Oh, that's a trouble in paradise, like Regina said. Snow and Charming are not agreeing as a couple. They don't want the same thing. Oh. Well, except Regina didn't do it, so you better let him go with her. Archie escaped. Hook let him go. That revealed the truth. Cora's gonna be so mad at what Hook did. Yep, she's gonna be very angry that you blamed her. But who could blame Emma? And Snow and Charming and the whole town. She's been evil for 43 years, I've said multiple times. Oh boy, but Regina doesn't know that she's proven innocent at this point. So who knows if she'll decide an evil? Who knows if she'll decide on an evil plot before they tell her that she is innocent? That's the problem with this second half of the season. She's gonna choose evil before they have a chance to apologize. But moving on, we're with Rumple and Belle now. Rumple. She wants to go back to Rumple, but we all know what happens. Aw, Mulan and Belle, what a team up. We got Cinderella and Snow, Mulan and Belle, all the Disney princess team ups you don't see in a Disney movie. This is how Philip and Mulan met, and then they fall in love when they wake up Aurora after 28 years of the curse. So then you got a love triangle, and then Philip dies to save Aurora and Mulan with the Wraith, right? Aw. Even to the bitter end. I knew she was going to say that. Otherwise, they... Yep. What? Really? Regina? Really? Regina. And then she goes to, and then we see in Beauty and the Beast, she lies to Rumple about her father killing her and yada yada yada, and Belle and Rumple thinking Belle dies until the curse is broken. Yep, that's how it all pieces together. Now, hopefully that flashback made sense. Now for the ultimate cliffhanger of this episode. I will pre-warn you, this is a violent scene, because it involves 3 people getting bloodshot murdered. But it doesn't show much of the blood. But this is a tragic scene to witness here. You see, Rumple didn't kill Hook, so he's still out for revenge. He's gonna do something in a minute. He's gonna pop out from the shadows. Sorry for spoiling a little bit there. It is a little violent, so I've warned you. But this is important. You can't skip this scene. This is a big plot twist that needs to be watched. Violence is not good, but if I had to choose my favorite violent scenes, this is my favorite violent scene. He's gonna find his son. Yeah. Belle will be waiting for you when Rumple gets back. Yeah. He's gonna find his son, who we will see in a few episodes from now, but this is what I'm talking about. Hook! Shooting Belle across the town line. She doesn't remember who she is now. That's good recall. That's revenge there. And then a car comes over and breaks Hook's ribs, and now you have another person on his deathbed, along with a crash that knocks this driver out from the real world. Never take a vacation to Storybrooke, because you might injure yourself. There's a lot of blood here. Alright, that's the end of the episode. I knew that was coming. We had to get through it. It's very important. So, Grumpy was hinting that what if someone from the real world were to pay a visit? And, you know, if you've seen E.T., where, you know, you see something magical, the real world can't understand it. You know, you don't believe in fairy tales. Fairy tales are not real, though the gospel is, and people don't believe in that either. Anyway, you know, if someone were to find out about something, and, you know, they would freak out, because they're like, magic's real? I haven't seen this before. This is crazy. We gotta study it. We gotta take it to a hospital. You know. And, yeah, and then there was another movie I watched on Disney Plus one time of someone who time traveled, and people were all, scientists and police officers were all over him, and all the family wanted to do was go back to a normal life, but they couldn't because they wanted to study this boy. And anyway, you've seen so many movies, like Grumpy said, you know, Splash, E.T., where they study it to death. They don't want that happening in Storybrooke. Now you have the Now you have the fairy tales exposed to the real world because this random stranger shows up out of nowhere, and if he survives his car accident, he could tell all his friends and family, and then once before you know it, Storybrooke will turn into a theme park, and you'll have people crowding, and perhaps maybe police officers who are just trying to follow the law kill Red Riding Hood because she's a wolf and they want to protect the human race anyway, and not say, portraying police officers as bad people, but like, you know what I mean? Like, when something magical comes along wrong, you just follow your first instincts, which would be to either, if it's a dark magic thing, you're gonna want to kill the person or send them to jail or put them on an electrical chair, or if it's something good and magical, you're just gonna want to trick them into signing a contract and study them to death and be like, if you leave, then we have every obligation to arrest you if you don't let us study you. Anyway, the point is, the real world cannot know that fairy tales are real, and now they've just been exposed. Well, on the other hand, you have Belle, who's shot across the town line, and though you could argue saying, well, hang on, Emma broke the curse before, can't she just do it again on Belle? Fortunately, that only works when you cast a curse that makes everyone forget who they are. Belle's just a single person who doesn't remember who she is, and I know we've already done this before. Why are they doing it again? Well, Belle was locked up for most of season 1. We didn't get to see her cursed persona, really. So now we get an opportunity to spend the last 11 episodes, because we just are 11 episodes in. We're exactly halfway through season 2. We're going to watch one more episode as we start the second half of season 2. But before we start that episode, Belle's going to spend the rest of the season not knowing who she is. It will be nice to see who Belle would have became if Regina didn't lock her up. If Regina didn't lock her up, who would have she became? And so it would be nice to see her curse persona, her curse name. And I'm not going to spoil what her curse name's going to be. But now that she's crossed the town line, this is a different kind of curse. There's no telling if there's a way to break it. All curses can be broken, true. But some curses are pretty rare to break. And so, well, it took Rumple a while to find a potion that would take him across the town line. So now he could go find his son, but it's going to be a while before he could wake Belle up from the curse now. So Belle's the only one cursed here, though. Everyone else still remembers who they are, so it's not like we're repeating season 1 again. But, I think that's interesting. And then you also have Hook, who wants revenge. Of course, fortunately, it backfired on him, because before Rumple could throw a fireball at him, Hook got ran over by a car too, so he's injured and can't finish his revenge on Rumpelstiltskin. So now we're going to see the aftermath of all this violence, but episode 12 does get better. It's little less violent, but it is black and white. They did a black and white episode. You remember before there was color, TV shows were in black and white? The real world, the present day, is going to stay in color, up to date with the modern world, but the flashback is going to be in black and white to give us a little feel of what TV shows were like back in the day. So, if you don't like the quality of a black and white TV show, I understand. It's just for one episode. Just get through it with me. We're going to watch this together. We're going to start the next episode. If you're on Disney Plus, the timestamp should be 44 minutes and 5 seconds. But that's because there's Disney Plus credits at the end. But that's not the same as the show credits. So if you're on Hulu or Disney or on DVD, your timestamp should be different. Doesn't matter. You start at 0. You make sure not a single second has played if you want to stay in sync. We'll start the next episode in 3, 2, 1, now. Now we get a recap after 2 episodes. Our third episode has a recap. Belle is shot. Oh no, Hook is ribbed. And someone just died in a car crash. Yep. The real world came to Storybrooke. That's bad. See, we're getting a black and white episode for the flashback. The only person in color is Rumpelstiltskin. So I hope you are used to your 50s and 40s era, 1940s, 1950s era of black and white. Luckily, we have our present day storyline, so the whole episode's not black and white. So you can relax, just deal with the flashback. See? Black and white. Frankensteins. Frankensteins. Remember Victor Frankenstein, who tricked Regina into getting a heart so he could bring his brother back? We're gonna see the aftermath of this flashback because his brother's gonna die, and then we're gonna skip ahead because we've seen the flashback where he gets a heart from Regina, and you know, and then we're gonna see the aftermath of bringing his brother back. So, because we had a Dr. Frankenstein episode in the past, but it was mostly in the Enchant Forest, so we don't really know about his world that much. So yes, we know who he was back in the beginning of the season, but now we're going to know about his world, which is different than the Enchant Forest and the real world combined. So, yep, so now they're digging out a body to see if they can bring him back from the dead. And Rumpel's watching from a distance. He's the only person in color, as I said. Speaking of present day Rumpel, though, he's going to try to wake Belle up. Just like Emma did with Henry. Maybe True Love's Kiss will bring her back, but it doesn't work. Especially since she wakes up before he does it. Oh, nope, she doesn't wake up before she does it. True Love's Kiss doesn't work. This curse is a little more difficult than season 1. She doesn't remember. Oh well. Sorry, but Rumple, you lost the love of your life. 2 loves now, but you're just about to be reunited with your son. If this didn't happen, we would have saw his son in this episode. But it's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be another episode before he actually leaves to find his son now because of this tragedy. Yeah, Puck, you're a dead guy for doing all bad things to Rumple. A lot of missed phone calls. That's weird. Tweets fit. Yep, is gone. Anyone could drive in. That's a bad thing. So he hasn't said that yet. I spoiled. We don't need outsiders here. True. That's a bad idea. We don't need a Disneyland out of Storybrooke. Tour buses down Main Street. That's not. Yeah, we don't need to talk about letting someone die in public. Leroy. Let's not jump. We have to choose between our lives and his. Yes, exactly. You don't know that. You don't know if keeping him alive is going to destroy the whole town. Police officers shooting every fairy tale character in sight. No, we don't know that. Hey, it's Star Wars. Yeah. I don't know. You might want to answer the phone. That's probably bad. Now like I said, we're jumping to the aftermath. He has the heart. We just saw how his brother died. Now he has the heart. Oh, nope, not yet. He has to make the deal with Rumpelstiltskin to get Regina to turn evil. He disappeared. He has magic. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, going back to what Snow White said, aside from worrying about the real world coming to Storybrooke, the... nope, she's alive. It's not a curse. You don't need an antidote. Cora is actually being genuine here, even though she's evil. Mm-hmm. Rumple's like, what? Can you offer my son? What are you talking about? You can know exactly where he is without searching all over the globe. It's a place where it can tell you exactly where he is. Yeah. Without you having to look all over the world. Since you lost Belle. So he can find his son, even though he lost Belle. Yeah. Cora would have just been too late if Hook didn't shot Belle over the town line. He would have already left into the world. Which would have took a lot longer to find his son, doing it that way. Now you can know exactly where he is. Now you can find out exactly where he is before you leave. With the curse broken and no one's being separated between two realms, Rumple has an opportunity to leave for a quick visit. But while he's gone, there'll be chaos in Storybrooke with Cora lurking about. Yeah. Come on, Dr. Wills. He doesn't want to bring that man back from the dead, because then that will be dangerous. We don't need people coming here. Strangers are not allowed. Okay, okay. You should not unbury a body. That's disgusting. Well, the police didn't listen to you. Run! Get out of there! Nope. Apparently not. He's dying. Now this is how he wanted to bring his brother back. Yeah, if the police trace it here instantly, then they're in trouble and they're all getting arrested. A while. Yep, he ran away. Come on, stop. We don't want police officers to track this town down. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff. You Emma and Snow, you missed a lot in Storybrooke. Yeah. So, I was gonna. What was I gonna say? So yes, while we have the real world on our tail, another incident we have to worry about is if Cora gets to Regina before they tell Regina that she was framed, she's gonna still think the whole town's against her, and she's gonna want to team up with Cora because being good is taking too long, and so she's gonna give up on happiness and decide to force her son back, which is everything she tried to prevent from doing, but because of the frame job. Anyway, Regina needs to know she's innocent before Cora shows up. Mm-hmm. Before before Cora shows up, and that's going to be a problem. Snow has a point. We got a lot of problems in this season. This is why I said it's messed up. Too many storylines are going on at once, and everything is just not at a good time, a good convenient time. We have to worry about the real world. We have to worry about Hook. We have to worry about Cora. We have to worry about Rumpel finding his son. So much stuff. Father Frankenstein is not happy with his son because he was responsible for killing his older brother for being out in the graveyard when he shouldn't be. Leave the dead alone. Respect them. What is Cora doing in Regina's house? And how did she find the vault? We haven't seen Regina since she got framed. She was gone all of episode 11. We're only halfway through 12 and we're finally seeing her since she saw Emma break the news to Henry. She needs to know that she's not framed. So, yes, I did trick you a little bit. Snow White's frame job lasted almost the entire rest of the season. This didn't last more than a couple episodes, so. But Regina still doesn't know that she was framed. She knows she was framed. She didn't kill Archie, but she doesn't know that they know. Regina, your worst fears, your worst nightmares finally came true. You wanted to avoid Cora taking a trip to Storybrooke, and yeah. Even though Emma and Snow defeated her, she found her own way. You succeed in defeating Cora, but you still fell. You succeed only to fail. Regardless. Though it's better for Mary Margaret and Emma to get back to Storybrooke than to have them be killed. So, it's better that Cora came her own way than killing Snow and Emma. We need them in this show. Yep. See, and we seen that flashback at the beginning of the season. He goes with the Mad Hatter. He goes with the Mad Hatter to take Regina's heart and then make a deal to trick Regina into thinking he can't bring back Daniel, only to keep the heart and bring it back his brother. Just a little flashback for you. Mm-hmm. Cora, your apology is false. Yep, she was the most manipulative person you've ever crossed. Yeah. Yep, you do. Be a better mother and own up to your mistakes. Yes, you took Daniel from her, now you took Henry from her. But not in the Daniel way. You owe her love back. Really? Cora? Really? You're gonna apologize to the Charmings? Even though you're evil to the core? She's not redeemable. Cora's not redeemable. Some villains are just not. But Regina is. We have to root for Regina here. Fortunately, Cora found her first, so Regina's gonna choose evil before she has a chance to get her good back. But she still will be good by the end of the season, though. See, we're jumping. Now we jumped. I was wrong. Now we jumped past that flashback. He has the heart and he's bringing back his brother. Not magic. Science. That's how the last flashback ended. You know, of Dr. Frankenstein, who's not even a fairy tale. So. Come on, Victor. You're just standing there letting your brother torture your father? Oh, my goodness. Yep, you did. True. Regina did something good with the Dark Curse. She gave them a chance to start all over. Even though they forgot who they are and they were miserable, they got to start all over for once. From their crap they wanted to forget in the fairy tale land. That is one positive thing about Regina out of Red Riding Hood. So, Regina did something good with the curse. She's not evil. She tried to do it out of evil, but it gave a chance for people to start all over with their choices and agency. All evil was left behind in the past. This is a chance to be good. Yeah. Cora, you're stop manipulating her. Mm-hmm. She does want love. Though she does actually want it, but after what she's been through with the frame job, I get her point of just wanting her son. Cora's just doing that to win her love back. You will push her away. That's a trick. Nope. No, don't trust her. Regina fails for it because she's sick of losing Henry to the heroes. Mm-hmm. See? This is what Snow White also feared with the real world. Snow White also feared that Cora would find Regina first before she found out she was framed. This is not good. Now Regina's gone back to being evil. But on the good news, Dr. Will has finally got some sense knocked into him and he's going to bring this stranger from the real world back to life. But not in the way this flashback does it. Because we've seen it with Daniel, we've seen it with Gayheart. When you bring someone back from the dead, they become a monster. This stranger from the real world has not officially died yet, so by bringing him back to life, it's going to be different. It's going to be the real world way of really bringing someone back without making them a monster killer. Like I said, monster killer. We're almost done for the night. That's crazy. Oh, same thing happened with Daniel. He remembered who he was for a second, but he snapped back into being a monster. Now Victor's gonna kill his brother again. Not kill again, because he didn't kill him before, but he realized he can't bring him fully back from the dead. Kill him, just kill him. Nope, he's not gonna do it. We both know he doesn't find a way. His brother's not in Storybrooke. But now we know Dr. Frankenstein's full story. He didn't just manipulate Regina. He had motives of his own that we just found out about. Monster to monster. Monster to monster. Dr. Wells and... No. Red Riding Hood the Wolf and Dr. Wells Frankenstein. You never thought you'd see that! Shut up, Leroy. Yeah, shut up. Stop worrying about this. Yeah, that would be weird. A sheriff bringing his parents in. Yeah. Grumpy thinks he's still fearing the worst, but don't worry. Cops are not going to arrest all fairy tale characters. Oh, Rumple, you're heartbroken because Belle doesn't remember. So, a happy ending for the real world person. Not so happy for Rumple and Regina. That's what happens when you're villains. You don't get a happy ending. Except they're not trying to be villains is the problem. And they're just facing a lot of bad luck this season. Aw, the broken cup. That's sad that Belle destroyed it. Unknowingly, of course. or anywhere. Don't text while driving. In the real world, you would place charges. You're just doing this to avoid people coming to Storybrooke. Yeah, I would have been honest though. I would have said I saw a fireball and I know you're the savior. Ha ha ha. Yep. On the bright side, the real world is safe from Storybrooke. On the bad side, Rumpel lost Belle, Regina found her mother Cora, and is turning to be evil again because Good didn't take her anywhere. Good just brought her more pain. Which is not true. You gotta be patient. And Rumpel's about to find out where his son went. You know where he is now. Ha ha ha. Yeah, to be fair, Snow White had a one night stands with Dr. Well. They were cursed. Yeah, who? Dr. Frankenstein's not even a fairy tale, so who knows who else is in this town? Peter Pan's a fairy tale. Spider Man. Who else is here? Um, you never know. Batman. Just kidding. That's not good. That and to say that threat in front of Henry, that's bad. Imagine something does happen to Belle and it's not their fault, and Rumple kills everyone. Like I said, he's a villain through and through. He never changes. He changes, but his redemption arc gets thrown down the toilet. Oh, he lied. He did see the fireball. Knew that was coming. And that wraps up for our tonight's episodes of Once Upon a Time. He did see the fireball. Man, I would have been honest from the start. And I would have been like, I don't want to leave. I want to stick around and see how... Well, I could be putting my life on the line, though, if I do that. There's a lot of danger that happens in Storybrooke. Never visit Storybrooke. You don't know what you're going to run into. Alright, well, that covers tonight's episodes. Woohoo! With only a 12-minute Q&A. So, yes, let's see, too low. The current frame rate is too low. What? Well, we're still live. We're fine. But let's see. I'm just seeing what other options here are on Facebook. Cross post to more pages. Create a clip from video. Publish a poll. So, yeah. Okay. So anyway, so that was interesting. So yes, there was a lot of things going on. So Dr. Frankenstein trying to bring back his brother. We didn't see the aftermath of that after we last saw his flashback, and we only saw the Regina bits and pieces. This time we got to see the before and aftermath. You know, before he met Regina and stole one of her hearts, and the aftermath of it. So now we know everything about Dr. Frankenstein, who's not even a fairy tale, according to Henry. So you never know who you might see in here. Just trying to throw out things I know that are not fairy tales. It's hard to think when all I've been watching my whole life were fairy tales, and my brother's into superheroes, so that's why I threw out, you never know, Batman's in here. I was just throwing out random things that are not fairy tales or Disney. But yeah, well, technically Disney owns sorry, another episode randomly played when I completely shut it off. I don't know how that happened. But, yes, I know Disney owns Marvel and stuff, but, like, not DC, so Batman was a good guess. Think of anything not fairy tale related on Once Upon a Time, apparently. No, Dr. Frankenstein's the only person that they add on here that's not a fairy tale, so rest assured this is a fairy tale show. So, so other than that flashback, Cora gets to Regina. Sadly, everything that everyone tried to avoid failed. Snow White's fear of Cora finding Regina out before they could tell her that she was framed, making Regina still think everyone's against her, therefore teaming up with Cora to fight for Henry back. That's gonna be a mistake later on. She's gonna regret her decision when the heroes defeat Cora. You know, to be fair though, in the past, anytime Regina tried to avoid teaming up with Cora, she had no choice. Cora used magic against her. This time Cora's not using magic, and Regina had every opportunity to refuse her mother. But unfortunately, she misses Henry too much to even care at the moment, and she fell into her mother's trap. So, yes, you know, Regina has turned evil, and it's not her fault. I mean, it was her agency, but, you know, if the heroes didn't blame her, though it is hard to believe that someone didn't do something after 43 years of wrong choices. So, you know, Regina's in a complicated situation. This is why you should never be a villain to begin with. You know, but that's not to say that it's never too late to repent. It's just if you repent, you're still gonna face consequences of someone else. It's still easier. You're still gonna face consequences of your actions, but you still might face you still might end up facing consequences of someone else's actions in the future. And because people know your past and they judge you on your past, you know, that's just the human mistake. You judge people based on their past and not their future. That's a mistake everyone makes, so you can't blame Regina for what she's doing. But hopefully they find peace within each other, you know, between Snow White, Charming, and Regina. You know, redemption takes time. You gotta be patient with the show. Characters take a while to get redeemed. Unless you're Rumpelstiltskin, you get redeemed, and then you fall back into old habits. But, yes, I know. I mean, you're probably annoyed of me saying that, but, you know, if I already spoiled something, then it should be no hurtful mentioning it again, because I have already said it. But yeah, so yes, we have that, and then we have the real world that just came to Storybrooke, so you're about to see where that leads, later in this season. And then, you know, whether it leads to the whole town being arrested for playing with magic or for the whole world freaking out, who knows? And then, of course, yeah, you got Hook also in the hospital as well because he broke a few ribs getting ran over by a car. Belle doesn't remember who she is, so no happy ending for anyone, really, except for the guy who survived his injuries, the stranger from the outside. So, you know, I once had to read a book in 8th grade about the outsider. It was a more violent story, but that was the title of episode 11, was The Outsider. You had the cricket game, and then you had In the Name of the Brother was the last episode we saw, which is relatable to Victor and his brother. Aharb is what his name was. So, as far as next week's episodes, they'll get a less violent because I know in episode 10, we didn't get much violence in episode 10, except for Cora fake killing Archie, but he didn't really die. So, episode 10 was mostly clean, even though we were watching Regina get almost executed, and she was paying for the sins that she committed. It was still a good episode overall. And then you had episode 11. That's where it got the most violent. You got Rumple torturing Hook. And it was mostly clean until the very, very end. And then we dealt with a lot of violence just now in episode 12. But it gets cleaner. In episode 13, it's a good episode. We don't have any violence going on, actually. Except, I'm not going to spoil, but let's just say there's something big coming to town. We don't see anyone die, of course, but it is something that could potentially kill a bunch of people. Just say that, but it doesn't kill anyone. So we got an okay episode coming up at the start of next week. And then we got an emotional son and father reunion. I told you that was going to happen this season. In season 2, Rumple was going to finally find his son. I told you how it wasn't going to happen in season 1. How Pinocchio how August fakely pretended to be Rumple's son. I told you it wasn't going to be that easy. We have 7 seasons, so not everything has to be solved in one. So yes, Rumple does find his son, and it takes all the way till season 3. Not really a spoiler. Season 3 is when Rumple will be able to make up for losing his son. But yes, so Rumple does find his son, but his son is not very forgiving when he finds him. Let's just say that. And so anyway, so yes. So I'm not trying to spoil anything. I'm just saying that some storylines take seasons. Some are like the curse was broken in season 1, so I know some are done within a season. But you have 7 seasons to explain a whole story. So you don't need it all solved in one season. But yes, despite not being on good terms with his son, Rumple will come face to face with him in the next coming episodes. And that will be next week, actually. We do have to deal with a big thing coming to Storybrooke first, and then we'll deal with Rumple and his son. And then next week we'll end the night with a nice princess episode, okay? So yes, a lot of things to look forward to next week. I try not to spoil too much there, but for anyone who's seen the show already, maybe you know what I'm talking about. So yes, we're past halfway through the season now. It goes by fast. As I said, in Arkansas, Mississippi, I can't believe we were already done with season 1. It's going to be that kind of a weird thing to say when we're done with season 2. I don't like the idea of going through each season, because the more seasons we finish, the more we're almost done with the show, Then I guess you could place the argument, well, why do 3 episodes a week? You could slow it down more with only 1 or 2, but I want to get this done in a little over a year, so... So yes, with that said, by the time we finish season... Oh, no, we started at the beginning of April, huh? So, May, June, July, I was gonna say by the time we finish season 2, we'll be a quarter through the year. And if you count the Wonderland spinoff, there's 8 seasons, so quarter through the show. But not exactly true, because we started at the beginning of April, so if we want to actually be a quarter through the year, that's the beginning of July. So starting next week, we'll have, not now, because we're still at the end of June, but starting next week, we will have completed 3 months of the show. And like I said, doing 3 episodes a week, with occasional 4, but mostly 3. With doing 3 episodes a week, it will take us a little more than a year, just a little bit, like an extra month or 2. So like 14 months, and 4 episodes would keep us under a week, like 10 months. And like argument said before, I don't want to rush the show too quickly, but I don't want to spend more than a year on it, except maybe a little over a year. And so that's why, for those who wanted 1 or 2 episodes, I'm sorry, I'm just doing 3, but I decided not to do 4 because I didn't want to rush the show that fast. I think 3 is a good number. It's, most movies nowadays are 2 hours, so to watch 2 hours and 15 minutes of Once Upon a Time is pretty normal. It's pretty good. I think 4 episodes of what would have been too many. Um, which we still kind of have to do once in a while, but only when we're at the end of a season or the beginning of one. Um, so yeah, good episodes overall. Looking forward to next week, and no comments on Facebook or YouTube, so no questions to answer, I guess. But yes, so for everyone who missed out on YouTube, I'm gonna re-upload this to YouTube and delete the old recording so that everyone has the real thing. Well, so yeah, so for so you know how I like to start YouTube first before Facebook. Let me just say before we end the live stream tonight, because the YouTube one already shut down like an hour and a half ago. After we finished one episode and started on episode 11. So normally I start the YouTube one first because that's the one that's going to stay on forever. Facebook will be deleted after 1 month, so you won't have access to this live stream on July 29th. That's when it will be deleted because it's June 29th. And so anyway, so yes, so it will be on YouTube forever though, and that's why I always like to start YouTube first so I get all the recording forever. Some recordings I did start Facebook first, but it's okay. It's only a few seconds, but I still like starting YouTube first for for the most part. And so anyway, so yes, now that we lost the YouTube access to the live stream by deleting the YouTube stream and posting the Facebook onto YouTube, we will lose about 30 seconds. But luckily I was prepared and came home with extra time on my hands from my family gathering to start both live streams almost at the same time. And so 30 seconds is not much of a difference. In fact, the only thing I said hi before starting Facebook was, "Hi, YouTube people, let's start Facebook now. Give me a second." And there was like 25 seconds of silence. So there's no need. Because when Facebook started, I said hi again. So anyway, not much of a loss because Facebook saves our life. Facebook saved our life here. It's a lifesaver. Yes, so now it's 9:31. It was 9:29, but I wanted to quickly say that. So yeah, without further ado, we'll end the live stream now. Our Q&A is up. We only had 12 minutes after that episode, so yes, I've been better at starting on time. But even if we start at 7 instead of 7:01, we would have had only 13 minutes. So yes, I think the problem is not me starting on time. I do great at starting on time. It's just the in between episodes I talk too much. So I will need to work on that. But for now, we're gonna end the live stream. We have hit 2 hours and 41 minutes. So we'll just stop there because we're going 1 minute overtime. All right, a minute and a half to be precise. So, all right, have a great night and see you next week. Bye, y'all.